I've been trained to serve you. Good morning, Your Highness. Good morning, Your Highness. Good morning, Your Highness. Ever since I was born, I've been trained to serve you. Ever since I was born, I've been trained to serve you.
They're gonna come your way. So much so that you won't know what to do when they come your way. So many of them are gonna be coming down, beating down your door, because you have the one thing they don't have. You have stability. Why? Because you have the understanding of this truth, this knowledge, which is gonna keep you stable. Isaiah 33:6, the scriptures do not lie, brothers.
Ever since I was born, I've been trained to serve you.
They supposed to be raised to how to please whoever they gonna marry.
Good morning, Your Highness. Good morning, Your Highness. Good morning, Your Highness.
You know, like the scene from Coming to America.
I've been trained to serve you.
You know, we always reference that in the intro, the part where that one princess from another country was supposed to marry Eddie Murphy. Her desires, well, the scripture said her desire should be towards her husband. But her desire was she was born and raised and groomed to please the king of Zamunda.
Ever since I was born, I've been trained to serve you.
Which was Eddie Murphy, Prince Hakeem. All right, that was her whole purpose on earth, and that's righteous. That's the way it should be.
How may I assist you, my lord? My lord, it is an absolute honor to stand in your presence.
What kind of music do you like?
Whatever kind of music you like.
Do you have a favorite food?
Yes,
Good! What is your favorite food?
whatever food you like. Ever since I was born, I've been trained to serve you.
Whatever Eddie Murphy liked, she was in the right spirit, and that's how it's going to be in the kingdom. That's how it's going to be. They're going to be created to please us in righteousness. The kingdom of heaven is going to be so beautiful, so pleasant, so righteous, that nations are going to want to serve us, man. You know, they got a term called pick me, which women act like is a bad thing. You know, wanting to be picked. You're supposed to want to be picked. All right, men are the prize. Women, you're supposed to want to be picked.
I'll take you, darling. And you. And you. And you. Please understand, if I missed anyone, it's been a big day. I'm a little tired.
Oh, of course, Mr. Williams. You must conserve your strength.
These nations, these women in the kingdom, they're going to want to be picked. These heathens, I'm talking about the concubines, because the Israelite women, they're going to be good. All right, they're already going to be belonging to somebody.
Good morning, Your Highness. Good morning, Your Highness. Good morning, Your Highness. Ever since I was born, I've been trained to serve you.
Isaiah 4. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name, to take away our reproach. In that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. And it shall come to pass, that he that is left in Zion, and he that remaineth in Jerusalem, shall be called holy.
The kingdom prospers.
Indeed, my love, the harvest is bountiful. May we feast and celebrate our victories.
In our unity. May we continue to prosper. To the most radiant assembly, may this evening be as splendid as you are.
Indeed, my love. The flavors are exquisite.
I must say, this dish is exceptional.
It is indeed.
We are honored to serve you.
Ever since I was born, I've been trained to serve you.
How may I assist you, my lord?
My Lord, it is an absolute honor to stand in your presence.
They're gonna come your way. So much so that you won't know what to do when they come your way. So many of them are gonna be coming down, beating down your door, because you have the one thing they don't have. You have stability. Why? Because you have the understanding of this truth, this knowledge, which is gonna keep you stable. Isaiah 33:6, the scriptures do not lie, brothers.
Shalom, shalom. The title of this lesson is The Beauty of the Israelite Women Was Changed. Confusion covered the house of Jacob. And this lesson is circled around 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 26 to 28. Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson through the power and spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And double honors to the other apostles and the elders of great millstone who rule well and teach well through the spirit. And a mighty shalom to those for alike that are scattered four corners of the earth, teaching this word and believing this word. Lord willing, as a whole, that you all continue in sound doctrine and in the same spirit. And again, Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson through the power and spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And with that, let's get into it. So this is 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 26 to 28. So that the princes and elders mourned, the virgins and young men were made feeble, and the beauty of the women was changed. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. This passage, it comes after the rise of the Greek Empire, starting with Alexander the Great, but then eventually leading to, under Antiochus, I believe the 6 Epiphanes. Then Israel was being oppressed politically and spiritually and culturally. The nation had turned away from the commandments, and the Most High allowed judgment to come upon them, which, we always bring out in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. These verses describe what happens when a nation loses the protection of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Truly, this describes, the Israelite losing that protection. Joy disappears, strength disappears, beauty disappears, confidence disappears, and whole nation falls into mourning. The same pattern can be seen throughout the scriptures when the Israelites rebel and confusion and shame follows. But the beauty of women was changed. Beauty here is more than physical appearance. In the scriptures, a woman's beauty includes health, joy, modesty, peace, fruitfulness, and security and hope. When judgment came, fear replaced peace. Stress replaced joy. Mourning replaced celebration. Survival replaced femininity. The women no longer looked as they once did, because the nation itself was under curses. Now, this lesson is going to be more circled around the Israelite women. So I have to expound on a certain way, especially when we're dealing with the Greek captivity. And to reflect even in this captivity now, again, our Israelite women lost their beauty in the Greek captivity. And it is, of course, even if we was to look at this captivity and other captivities, you still seen beautiful women. But the characteristic of what the beauty that, left our Israelite women was that health. All Israel, especially the women, was, they was healthy. But over time, especially in all captivities, now that health, took away from your beauty, joy, modesty, really in behavior or in the mindset. I mean, the behavior is the mindset, and the appearance, their apparel, peace, fruitfulness, where women bring forth children, and other fruitfulness through the spirit, and security and hope. Let's actually go to the book of Isaiah, I really like reading the NLT, but for time's sake, we'll just read in the KJV. This Isaiah 3, verse 16. It says, Moreover, the Lord Yahweh Shai saith, because of the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanting eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Therefore the Lord Yahweh Shai will smite with the scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord Yahweh Shai will discover their secret parts. In that day the Lord Yahweh Shai will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet and their claws, and their round tires like the moon. Right? That booty. Salaki. The chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, the rings, the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles and the wamples and the crisping pins, the glasses, the fine linen, the hoods, and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stank. Right? Some of y'all women are gonna have an odor, really towards the southern kingdom. And instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of a well set hair, baldness. Right? What Jada Pinkett got. Right? But some of you women, even without that disease, a lot of y'all women is hit where your hair don't even go past your shoulders. And instead of a stomacher, a girdle of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. And her gate shall lament and mourn, and she, being desolate, shall sit up upon the ground. So the daughters of Zion lost their beauty because of judgment. And this leads with, the ancient Babylon sieging Israel. This was directed towards the southern kingdom, but if we was to look at all Israel, especially in a prophetic sense, all Israel would be hit with this. But of course, a lot of the northern kingdom sisters got their hair past their shoulders, but that doesn't make them better or less. All Israel, we came short. We all have our moments of being demons. So everything that once was presented dignity became shame. And the Most High can remove beauty from an entire nation. Okay, look, he made Esau a leaper. So if you slide over to Proverbs 31 and verse 30, it says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord Yahweh Shai, she shall be praised. Right? And that's what we like to teach, the fearing Yahweh Shai. But how beautiful is it, a woman that feareth Yahweh Shai? True beauty begins with fearing Yahweh Shai. When Israel departed from him, even outward beauty faded. That's why we need Yahweh Shai. So why was their beauty changed? Right? Why was their beauty changed? Because judgment changes everything. It literally does. Right? Judgment really changes things. When you afflict your children, right, they hold demeanor, their attitude, right? When you tell them to do things, it changes. Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh Shai thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Disobedience would bring curses. Disobedience would bring curses. Those curses affected the health, marriages, children, emotions, appearance, prosperity, everything. Everything. When we go to limitations, that's why it's easy for the nations to consume us. Literally. Limitations 1, verse 1 to 6. How doeth the city sit solitary? It was full of people. How was she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations, and princess among the providence. How was she become tributary. She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers, she hath none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction, and because of great servitude she dwelleth among the heathen. She findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. The ways of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn feast. All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh. Her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. Her adversaries are the chief. Her enemies prosper. For the Lord Yahweh Shemashai have afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy. And Jerusalem once looked glorious. You know, when you see in these movies, you know, they give you that somewhat of a depiction outside of, you know, Jake looking like heathens. Jerusalem looked it glorious. Now she's set as a widow. Her princes lost their strength. Her people mourn. And it's exactly what the first Maccabees described. And even though Babylon was trash, the Persian was trash, the Greek captivity, this is like the first like major big empire of Esau, Edom. And they really got real gruesome. And the Maccabees is a very interesting history, because it hit you with a lot of change happened, you know, being Hellenized. And it was forced, and if you didn't do it, you was put to death in all different levels. Leading to Rome, you know, Esau ruled viciously. His tortures was vicious. His mindset is vicious. He's not a man of the Lord. He don't got the spirit in him. You know, so the virgins and young men became feeble, basically weak. The future generation, they lost hope. Young men should possess strength. Young women should possess joy. Instead, they became weak. Fear drained strength, and oppression destroyed confidence. You know, and really, Jake don't have confidence to serve the Lord. They are confident in money, a job, a career, status. But a lot of Jake is not confident in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. They're not sure. This is Isaiah, the 40th chapter, in verse 30 and 31. Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. You got to know, even the youth faint. Only those who wait upon the Lord Yahweh Shemashai renew their strength. And we renew our strength first through the Spirit. So marriage became mourning. When we go back to First Maccabees 1:27, it reads, it says, every bridegroom took limitation, and she that sat in marriage, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. Marriage should be one of the happiest days of life. Instead, the bridegroom cried. The bride sat in heaviness. Why? Because national judgment removes joy from personal life. If we was to hop to 1 Maccabees 1, and I'll start at 50, pay close attention. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. In the self same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land. and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor. Now the 15th day of the month of Celsius, well, we about to get the pronunciation correctly of this word, Salaki. Caslu. Now the 15th day of the month Caslu, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and built idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. And wheresoever was found with any of the book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should be put to death. Right? And this time, if you had the law, right, you had these scriptures, you was put to death. I'm just saying a sidebar, we got to really be thankful in this time that the Lord allowed us to be able to have these scriptures. But don't get it twisted. It's always a reason. It's really for you elect. It's for your elect. And this is all a practice, a warm-up for the worst to come. And if you've been applying what you've been reading, what you believe in your life, all of this is going to be beneficial for you. But let's just keep reading a little bit more. Verse 58. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the city. Now the 5th and 20th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of the Most High, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. This is why a lot of women wasn't at joy or mourning, or they were crying. You know, they had to have a child, then turn around trying to circumcise the child because you followed the ways of the Lord, and your child is put to death, right? Because you're circumcising your child. Verse 61. And they hanged the infant about their necks and raffled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them. So that man, that priest that circumcised your son, he got put to death. Howbeit many Israel were for fully resolved and confirmed in themselves to not any unclean thing. Wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not defile with meat, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. They was willing not to eat, abomination, and they lost their life for it. This is what was going on in the Greek captivity, and there was very great wrath upon Israel, and this was all a curse, a judgment from the Lord, and we had to live through that. This is a judgment that we have to live through. It's cold, and he's just in everything he does, because our ways was unrighteous. Joel chapter 1 verse 8. Lament like a virgin, girded with sackcloth, for the husband of her youth. So Israel is told to mourn like a bride mourning for her husband. Judgment changes celebrations into funerals. Judgment changes celebrations into funerals. So all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. This is one of the strongest statements. Confusion means not knowing what to do, loss of identity, shame, disorder, fear, and instability. Israel no longer resembled the holy nation they were called to be. This is even more why we speak on the elect a lot, because the elect is not of this world. St. John 17, Yahushua wasn't directly speaking about Israelites. He was speaking about the elect, those that believe. How can all Israel not be from this world if 2/3 of them don't believe? Those that are not of this world are because they have that heavenly mind that the Lord put within them. But let's get Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, in verse 28. The Lord Jehovah Shai shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. Confusion was already written in the covenant curses, and this is one of them. Madness, blindness, astonishment of heart. And this is what Jake be pursuing. Astonishment of heart, and they're blind. They can't see. It be right in front of them, and they cannot see. Madness. This is why women is having monstrous children. I just had to watch these young little kids fight, and I believe this child had to be 14 speaking, "Give me my gun." Where the fuck is you getting a gun? But this world, they're so... these children can find a way to get whatever they want that they should not be able to. Drugs, weapons, all these other things. We need Yahweh Shai to come. We need him. But let's actually continue in this lesson. Let's actually go to Isaiah, the 29th chapter. And let's read verse 13 and 14. And this is what it reads. It says, "Wherefore the Lord Jehovah Shai said, For as much as this people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear towards me is taught by the precept of men. Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people, even a marvelous work and a wonder. For the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the understanding of their prudent men shall be hid." So, because Israel departed from the commandments, wisdom perished, and understanding was vanished. And even if we was to look at from the Greek to the Roman captivity after the temple fell, it was a falling away. We were in a total dead state. Understanding vanished, prophets, no king, no type of real leader that was under Yahweh Shai until that 350 fulfillment around 1619. But let's actually get Hosea, the 4th chapter, verse 6. "My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And this knowledge that we lack is and was the knowledge of Yahweh Shai, which is in these scriptures. Because thou hast rejected knowledge. So he took this from us because we rejected his knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children." So without truth, confusion grows. So the same condition can happen spiritually. Confusion is not only emotional, it is spiritual. Many Israelites today do not know who they are, do not know their heritage, follow the customs of the nations, are divided by many different teachings. And we see in the Lord's scriptures repeatedly call Israel back to repentance and faithfulness to the Most High, which is truly through Yahweh Shai, because the Lord been blessing us graciously back to back, first with the law and that unfailing love and faithfulness of what the Lord did through Yahweh Shai. Let's actually get the book of Judges, the 21st chapter, verse 25. "In those days there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes." Oh, brother, that's talking about the book of Judges. We know. But you got to know, sometimes you can even look at a scripture in a twofold, a threefold, depending on what we're talking about. And if you sit right now, none of the Israelites do not have a king right now. Our king is Yahweh Shai, but the whole world don't know that he's king. They're not honoring him. Even Jake, you're not honoring your true king. And everybody is doing their own thing. Lucky. Everybody doing their own thing. That's confusion. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 5 In verse 20, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Calling evil good, calling good evil, that is confusion. This is even more why through the Spirit we can tell America is Mystery Babylon. Babylon means confusion. The mystery is being revealed. It's like Scooby-Doo. The clues have to be revealed. The clues is the mystery. It's not a mystery anymore until it's solved. We solved it going back into these scriptures. Yahweh is not the author of confusion. He's not. 1 Corinthians, the 14th chapter, verse 33. For the Most High is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. The church is the assembly of Israelites. The saints is those that are faithful, which are the Israelites. Confusion enters when people depart from his order. Peace comes through obedience and faithfulness. So there is hope for Israel. There is hope for the Israelites. Although judgment came during the time of the Maccabees, the Most High did not utterly forsake his people. When you look into the book of Maccabees, it goes on to record faithful Israelites who resisted the attempts to erase their worship and identity, demonstrating steadfastness under persecution, even with the sisters that was willing to die instead of eating unclean. Let's actually get this precept in the book of Baruch, the 4th chapter, in verse 28. For as it was your mind to go astray from the Most High, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. In the NLT, it says seek him with 10 times more determination. And repentance leads back towards mercy. You got to get back to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Got to get back to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. I got to get this side precept. Is it Philippians 3:13-14? Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. I press towards the mark for the prize of the high calling of the Most High, and Mashiach Yahushai. Now this lesson, of course, is centered around the Maccabees of the beauty of our sisters. But just because in that time, the beauty fully hasn't come back to Jake. Yes, the beauty did. It's this wisdom, knowledge, understanding. But you're going to still have problems because we're in this flesh. And we're in a worser captivity than the Greek captivity. When you go to Daniel, the 7th chapter, this is very serious. Verse 7. After this I saw the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. This is the weapons they use. They use iron. And it devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. It's so diverse. It had it ruled 3 times down there. The Greek captivity, the Edomite Greeks gave over their kingdom to Rome. That's why it became Greco-Rome. Rome became that Roman Empire, and then Rome was wounded, and then it healed, and then now in the future they have America. But these elites run America, NATO, and the EU. They were more diverse from all the other beasts. This is a diverse power. And when you lead into verse 8, it's so diverse that it healed and came back again. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. You got to understand this prophecy is speaking about the wars of this little horn that stems from this 4th beast, Rome. This little horn, if it stem out of Rome, it's going to be a Roman horn. And this war was the British, the French, and the Spanish to make its independence. And this was leading to open up that door of the North Kingdom, or the North Country, where the Southern Northern Kingdom will be in their last captivity. And behold, in this horn, their eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. And that's what Esau did when it came to Democrats and Republican, or when it go into that religion sector. Okay, let's even go to Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, verse 1 and 3. It says, "And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whether the Lord Yahweh thy power have driven thee, and shalt return unto the Lord Yahweh thy power, and shalt obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul. That then the Lord Yahweh thy power will turn thy captivity, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whether the Lord Yahweh thy power have scattered thee." So after the curses, if Israel returned, the Lord Yahweh Shai promised compassion and restoration. So the words of 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 26 and 28 paint a sobering picture of what national judgment looked like. The elders mourned, the young women became weak, the beauty of women was changed, weddings became times of sorrow, the whole house of Jacob was covered with confusion. The passage calls readers to recognize the seriousness of turning away from the Most High and the far-reaching efforts or effects that judgment can have on a people. At the same time, the broader message is that the Most High invites his people to return to him in repentance, promising restoration to those who seek him faithfully. In the time that we're in 2026, we got to be thankful that we have the blueprint, which is the scriptures, but even more, you have the breakdowns, because the minute of the Lord is right in front of us. Even though this lesson was directed on the beauty of Israel was changed, or the beauty of the Israelite woman was changed, you speak about all Israel as a whole, because when we look at what happened in the Greek captivity, it was more than just the beauty of a woman. It was the beauty of Israel. It faded. And that's why Israel is a reflection of a woman. And if our men are not in order, Israel's beauty is diminished. Because then when you go back to the Hosea 4 and 6, even when you were reading the NLT, a lot of the priests lacked the wisdom because they rejected the knowledge. They rejected Yahweh Shai. So they truly lacked that spiritual vision. Even the men lost their beauty. The Lord said, "How beautiful are the feet of those that preach the gospel." These other leaders, especially in the time of Yahweh Shai, didn't believe in Yahweh Shai. They didn't have beautiful feet. Their beauty was changed. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai, Bashem Al-Kakwadash. Lord willing, this edifying lesson. With that, Shalom, Shalom, Abba, Abba.